Welcome all to episode 293 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, October 4th, 2025. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the Insipid Ghost, joined by my co-host, the Intrepid Captain Logun. Today, we'll be discussing the massive $55 billion acquisition of EA by a group of private investors that is somehow the light news in a week where Xbox has yet another price increase, this time for Xbox Game Pass, receiving its third price hike since launch. Ooh, it's now 100% more expensive than it initially was, and the rakes keep getting stepped on. We hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness, those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Outside of the news and obvious like rage bait that is Microsoft now, I've been doing pretty good. It's been just like a normal week, I guess. I've been diving into Ghost of Yote.
Hey, how are you liking it?
It's really good.
Is it? That's great, man. I know how much you wanted that.
Yeah, dude, it's one of those ones where like you go into it and you're not quite sure like how's a sequel gonna really like hold up, is it gonna be good, is it gonna be bad? They've done changes to like some of the systems, but they've added some other stuff that I know it's gonna be like hit or miss with some people. I've already seen Hogue from Season Gaming talk about like how there's like things that already coming in here. Man, look at the console wars coming in already.
Question, just briefly. Yeah. Are you supposed to buy your son a present for his birthday? Because I didn't.
No.
Okay. All right.
Not based on where Joseph's heritage is from.
His mom and I decided he wasn't worth it.
That's fair. Take her out. It's she's the one that put in the work to bring him into the world. Might as well celebrate her for having to put him into the world than him surviving.
You're getting it.
34 years. Can we talk about just how young y'all feel like whenever I'm sitting there and he's like, I celebrated my 34th birthday, and I'm like, what the hell was I doing back when I was 34? I don't remember. I think I was scared that I was going to turn 35. I think that was my fear back in the day. Now I'm like, what's retirement? I don't know. I'm still renting.
Hey man, life's a journey. Be glad to be on it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying Ghost of Yote. I really am. Like legit. I know that you were stoked for that one. I know that's been on your radar. And I'll tell you how much we know that because we had opportunities to review stuff and he's like, no, Ghost. And I'm with you on that. Like I when there's a game I want, I'm like, no, thank you. This is what I'm interested in playing. I turned down one or two just because I wanted to play Silent Hill F, which I'm enjoying. And I'll talk about that later on in the show if we can get to it. So
we got a lot to talk about too, man. But how's your week been?
It's been very intense. Yeah, very intense. I think I had 60 parent contacts this week, like with students, which is a lot. Parent teacher conferences, phone calls, coaching stuff was going on. It was just a lot.
That's all going to be intense. You're not going to do them in buildings.
No. Okay. Sometimes it's intense, like in camping,
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out briefly to the nerd chat to see Jose in here. Of course, happy birthday to one of my besties, Joseph Moran. Gentlestone is in the chat. Clutch Kwando, who sent me a lovely message. Really appreciate him. A-Chick is in the house. Nicholas Johnson. Hey, there's X Bacon Gaming. And of course, my buddy Beans. And Nessa Hauer. Good to see you guys. Of course, I see your comments. We are absolutely going to be going through all the news, both emotional reactions, logical reactions, breaking down everything as we hope to consistently do with a logical approach. Even when we are emotional, we try to acknowledge that we're being emotional. So yeah, we're going to break that down. But I want to give some words of kindness this week, legitimately to Xbox PR, not the people making the decisions, not the people that are going by and deciding what's happening, but the people who are having to field these reactions on socials, people that are having to get the emails, the customer support, people that are having to deal with the website crashes, the cancellations, and basically the ones that are fielding the anger, because it's never the decision makers. And I sense the people that connect us as far as XEP is concerned with Xbox. I sent them a lovely note just saying, hey, we appreciate the human side of it, the human things that are going on, even if we're upset. And make no mistake, I plan to go in hard on Xbox today, and that may hurt our chances for future interviews or future review products, and that's okay. That is part of it, and I am fine with that. I think it's important to be accountable, but the human people behind it do not deserve to be mistreated while they are fielding that anger. And so I know that many of us are very measured in our responses, but my words of kindness are to those who are receiving the cruelty from it, or the extremely hostile reactions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I hope that the people that have to deal with this on a day-to-day, as far as like the anger that's directed towards them, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel like upset about what's going on, because it's a change and this could potentially put you out. Yeah. Also, shout out to HX Mom for happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Down in Tennessee. They're having a good time. So, find some cool stuff while you're down there if you want. I don't know. Just saying. But it's one of those things where like people are getting yelled at, and this is one of those things where and like I wore my Cyberpunk 2077 or 2077 shirt today because down with corpos, man. Corporations consistently want to appease their shareholders, and they want to squeeze every dollar out of consumers that they can possibly get while still maintaining a front of relatability and stuff. And at the end of the day, I think, there are still human beings that have to go to work and have to deal with this. And they didn't make these choices. And I feel for them because they're just trying to do their job. There's things that I'm sure my company that I work for is probably going to do that's going to upset people or have upsetted people. And I wouldn't want to have to face that. I wouldn't want to have to sit there and think about the fact that every day I go to work, someone in my company is making someone else's job or life harder. That's not something I want to have to worry about. I just want to try and get through my 9 to 5 so that I can continue going home or, logging off and jumping on and play games with the money that I made. I want to be able to feed my kitty.
Yeah, plain and simple. And that's kind of what we're getting at. There's a lot to be upset about. I do want to spotlight Nissa's comment because it's relevant. She says, I like to say everyone's feelings are valid, but I also see so many people engaging in thinking traps. And as a therapist, I am frustrated with all of our nothing thinking. And that's a great point to be made. There's a lot of groupthink happening, group reactions, and people not kind of postulating their way through a lot of these changes. So let's just go ahead and discuss these changes, Logan, because they are extensive. Somehow the $55 billion acquisition of EA, not important here.
No.
So we'll get to that one. Oh, also shout out to Gunner. They sent me these new ones. They're far less Jeffrey Dahmer. They still got the yellow tint.
Yeah.
But without the Dahmer look.
Can we real quickly, not an advertisement, but we do get the advertisements for them. I was looking at the Witcher ones the other day, and they had the Mad Moxie from the Borderlands ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, Gunner's putting some really nice styles out there. Like they're coming out with some really nice styles. And shout out to the PR guy who's over there, because like he's legit been like, hey, if you want a pair to review, just let me know. And I'm like, I don't have time, and I'm not going to take the product if I'm not going to do justice to trying them out and see how I like them, kind of thing. But they're pretty. I was like, if I wore Gunners more often, I'd probably look to invest.
I'll take them because I've spreading the word. Like legitimately, they're helping my eyes because I've told you before, school, work, XEP, the actual gaming time that I put in, the reading of screens, the tablet, like my eyes. Shut up. Genuinely, my eyes have been hurting, so they've been helping me a lot. So I'm happy to have them. So, all right. Let's collect ourselves. Emotional. Namaste. Let's do this. So Xbox Game Pass has received its third price hike since launch. This was as of late this past week, kind of roughly the beginning of October. This coming less than a month after the console prices were increased due to macroeconomic conditions. I'll remind everybody that the price increases of the consoles saw the Xbox Series X raise up to now $650 for the one with a disc drive at base model. That is $150 more than the launch MSRP, which is a big deal. The Xbox Series S 512 launched at $300. It's now $400. That's a 33% increase and $100 increase if you want to look at it that way. That was a month ago.
Yeah.
That within that same
Last
time
month.
period. Yep.
Just
Yep.
like,
Less
yeah,
than a
sure.
month ago. Less
Pay
than a
more
month.
pay more for older hardware.
Pay more for older hardware again, mind
Yeah.
you, because they've raised the price multiple times. We're talking about just Xbox specifically. We're not engaging in the whole like, but other people have too. That's not the point. That's not what we're discussing in this case. We also need to see that now, less than a month later, Xbox Game Pass has increased its price by a substantial amount. When it launched back in 2019, Xbox Game Pass was $15, and it saw a price hike to $17 in 2023. $20 in 2024, and now as of October 2025, it is now $30. That is a 100% price increase from its launch state, and it's now costing $30 a month for Game Pass Ultimate. Xbox shrouded this in some pretty garbage marketing as they rebranded their tiers. The tier rebrand names, I do like the names. They changed it to Essential, Premium, and Ultimate, which is easier to understand than whatever it was they had before, but they've still got Xbox Game Pass for PC in there.
Core, Standard, and Ultimate.
Smoke Callie correcting me. Game Pass launched in 2017, not 2019. Thank you. I did misread that. I appreciate the correction.
Did it?
I'm pretty sure it did. I believe I was with Sean Capri in 2017 at an E3 event. Feel free to look behind me.
No, that's right. I'm thinking because Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2 launched day one, and those were the first like day one anywheres.
Yeah.
In 2018.
Yeah.
Which is why I was thinking like that was the launch time for it. But yeah, it was definitely in 2017 because I didn't pick it up until Sea of Thieves, basically.
Fair. And thank you for saving me from being crucified in the comment. I did misread that. I didn't
live comment reaction crucifixion.
But the Essential branding is the one that I find to be amusing here because I'm going to make sure I read this absolutely exact. Essential is going to be $10 a month. $10 a month for this one. While we're going to see the premium launch at, oh God, my whole thing just froze up. Logan, help me out here. Yeah, my whole
premium is going to be $15.
Thank you. And then, Ultimate is going to be $30. Now I am flabbergasted. This one, I apologize. My whole thing flew up. When Game Pass launched, everyone was saying $100 plus games. Game Pass is the way to go. Check this out. You're going to be getting day one first party titles, backward compatibility, and then they added in streaming to it. Streaming was in beta. It no longer is. And honestly, pretty cool deal. But with this consistent uptick of pricing, Xbox has clearly exited the growth model, and now they're in essentially squeeze model where they're trying to squeeze every single dollar out of their customers. They did try to shroud this in good news. EA Play is still getting their game trials and games being added in there. They still have discounts for some of their DLCs. Ubisoft Plus also added classic titles to the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate tier. And of course, you starting in November, if you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you now also get Fortnite Crew, which is about $10 a month there. So they did add some things to Xbox Game Pass, but they are non-negotiable ads. So if you don't play Fortnite, this uptick, Fortnite Crew does nothing for you. If you already own many of these Ubisoft titles that I will remind everybody were included in Games with Gold and have been on steep discounts for a decade plus at this point, then is there value in there? The removal of DLC discounts is in there. The Xbox Rewards program has been gutted multiple times over. And with Ultimate, you can now get up to $100 of rewards if you're doing this stuff every single day. And Game Pass Rewards used to be amazing. Now it is just a husk of its former self. Whew, let's keep going here. There are other aspects to this especially bother me, given that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate now costs more than what it takes to get into an Xbox Series S. And Xbox has largely removed incentive to have Xbox hardware. Let's remember, Logan, that when Xbox removed its exclusivity approach, and they said, we're going to put our games in other places. I have no problem.
4 games to start.
4 games to start. And now everything is going everywhere, which, mind you, I don't think is a bad thing. The incentive to purchase Xbox consoles was the ability to have Game Pass with day one games. They're even nerfing that at some tiers, which is wild to me. And like they've got asterisks. You'll get for the premium tier, you'll get Xbox games within a year of launch. Maybe not Call of Duty. We're not sure. Very strange kind of approach to this one. I'm just frustrated because they've de-incentivized the need for Xbox hardware. This new Xbox handheld that's coming out, the first one in the OEMs, is $1,000 for the premium version.
Tier.
That's not counting your subscriptions. That's not counting the things to access this library. And there's no way to purchase many of these things a la carte. And so the consistent squeezing of people that have been involved is a problem for me. And when they say day one games, Logan, I know I'm ranting and I hope I apologize for it, but like, are you talking South of Midnight? Are you talking about South of Midnight? Because knock it off. I like South of Midnight, but I certainly don't think it's worth you having Xbox Game Pass Ultimate in any way, shape, or form.
It was also a cheaper entry point for games as well too. I believe it was only like $40 to start.
They tried to raise the price of Xbox Live years ago. They had to
they walked that back real. Yeah,
they had to walk that back. They tried to raise the price of their game catalog to $80. They had to walk that back, doing irreparable damage to the launch of Outer Worlds 2. Keep an eye on XEP, by the way. I'm very excited. They've done irreparable damage to their brand name multiple times over, and they've de-incentivized their consumer base from purchasing future consoles because they've devalued their own console. Now, I have said many times in the last few years, I love Xbox games. I think I'm kind of done with Xbox hardware unless something changes or unless there's an ability to access another storefront and I'm not getting squeezed to the nth degree. I did cancel my Game Pass subscription. It runs out in November 2026. Plenty of time for things to change, but I did turn off renewal. Do I drop down a tier? Do I drop down 2 tiers? Do I exit the ecosystem altogether? I'm not sure. Logan, it's not about $10 more. It's about a breaking point. $20 was my max. I said that. I was steadfast in that. I love Xbox games. I have 2 of them tattooed onto my arm, Doom and Gears. I love Halo. You can see it behind me. I genuinely loved Avowed. I really was impressed with the Oblivion remake. I really enjoy Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I have a lot of things in the Xbox pantheon that I love, but Xbox hardware, not here for that in the way that it's going. And Microsoft gaming, which is what it seems to have become, I am no longer willing to just throw my money. So there's a lot that could happen between November 2026 and now, but they have hurt my willingness to support the brand. I'm curious now after my 5-minute rant. How you feeling, bud? Thank you for letting me talk.
Yeah. So, okay. Going back, kind of recycling some of this stuff, with the change in console prices, like this is indicative of what's going on in the world. Like we're just seeing everything in the States has gone up in price. A few things have gotten cheaper, and it's weird that, especially with like hobby stuff like this, like video games, like granted, video games are therapeutic. They can be a detriment if you let them get to you, but for all intents and purposes, a lot of us are enjoying games because we enjoy that as our hobby. You know, some people work on cars. Some people do, crafts. Some people just watch TV, enjoy it. I sit there and I play World of Warcraft and think like, oh, I could start making content about that. But then I'm like, I think this is just going to be one of those things that I just enjoy doing because it would take a lot of effort and time. So looking at with prices and stuff going up, it's just one of those situations where I have to reevaluate. I only have so much time for the dollars that I spend. So the dollars that I spend should be towards something that I'm going to actually enjoy. And I think that is where a lot of this is coming into. So as far as like game price hikes going up, I'm okay with things going from like 60 to 70. We've been in this for a while now. I understand that. Going from 70 to 80 starts to make me kind of a little more hesitant. Like, okay, well, it's going to have to be a pretty impressive game for me to justify why I'm spending an arbitrary amount of money on this when not that long ago, most of these were expected to come in $20 cheaper for the same
Agree.
caliber of game.
Sure.
So when I see game price or Game Pass go up in price from 20 to 30, I have to sit there and wonder, why did they go $10 when I think $5 would have been a lot more digestible?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people probably wouldn't be nearly as upset as they are now with a $10 hike than if it were a $5 hike. So it's very interesting to me to kind of sit here and look and see like, okay, well, where is the threshold for a lot of people? For you, it's $20 at that point. For me, it's probably would have been 20, 25. At 30, I took a look at my account. I'm set till August of 2026. At that point, I have to consider how much do I really, really need those day ones, and which ones are the day ones that I'm going to be like wanting, you know? Because at this point, what I will probably do is I will probably drop down from Game Pass Ultimate to the PC Game Pass, which did get a price increase. It went from $12 to I think $16.50 as far as like the actual cost there. So
not, by the way, in the marketing.
No,
that
they didn't mention that at all. Yeah, they didn't mention
it.
that at all. So for me, I'm probably going to be switching over to the PC aspect of it because a lot of my time is spent on the PC. I've got my consoles upstairs and I've got the really nice TV. That's where I've been playing a lot of Ghost of Yotei, and it's been nice. But at the end of the day, I'm generally like on my computer because a lot of the games I play are only available on PC. So I'm probably going to look for the value there. And I still think that at least Game Pass for PC is going to be a good enough value because I'll still get some day ones through there. And with Play Anywhere, I'm hoping that some of the titles that I want that I have through Game Pass PC will be available on my console. But at this point, I'm not predominantly playing as a console player. I feel for console players because when I look at the change that they did, like Luke, you subscribe to Fortnite Crew.
I do. Yes. So yes. Yeah. When you finish your thought, and I'll address that.
Game Pass Ultimate is going to include that in November, and that's great because if you're a Game Pass Ultimate fan and you're a Fortnite Crew fan, you're going to be saving some money. You're going to be saving about $2 a month.
Yep.
Plus, you'll get the added benefits of Ubisoft Classic if that's what you're into.
Sure.
You'll also get access to the benefits of EA Play, plus the day one gaming, all that stuff, right? So for fans that are already invested in Fortnite and Game Pass Ultimate, there is a potential for you to actually benefit from this, which shows that there has been an added value. And I think the added value in this is where it's really key. But if you ever decide that you don't want Fortnite Crew anymore and you want to save that $12, you now have to consider the fact that you are not going to be able to do so if you're invested in Game Pass Ultimate. That value is now superfluous. There's nothing you can do to lower the cost of Game Pass Ultimate because you decided that at the time you don't feel like paying for Fortnite Crew, and you lose a bit of that agency. And I think that's where I'm stickler about like the issues that I have with Game Pass Ultimate right now, because for you, you're going to enjoy Fortnite Crew, but not everyone's going to enjoy Fortnite Crew all the time.
Correct.
But we lose some of that a la carte functionality of this. Like my World of Warcraft subscription is separate from my Game Pass. So I don't have to make the choice of, do I give up Game Pass or do I drop to a lower tier and lose out on day ones?
Right.
Because I don't want to pay for the World of Warcraft subscription anymore.
Sure.
Or do I want the same thing with Fortnite? Like if I wanted to get Fortnite Crew, yeah, I'd be saving. But if I ever give that up, if I stop paying for Fortnite Crew separately and I go with Game Pass Ultimate, I'll get the benefits there and it'll be nice. But now we're moving back into this cable television scenario where I'm paying for 300 channels when I realistically, I only wanted 5 that are not available in basic cable. So now I'm paying for this giant bundle of cable channels that I don't watch. I have to sit here and look like, God, wouldn't it be just nice if I could just pay like a small fee to add a couple channels? Because that's what I really want. I don't want everything. I just want what I want in a very kind of a la carte mode. So my question for you, and we can get back into other stuff with this, is do you feel like, because you said that yours is up in November, do you feel like in November, if nothing changes,
2026 November,
2026, do you feel like in November 2026, you'll reconsider based on how much you're still engaging with Fortnite on whether or not you've enjoyed the value that has been added in that 12 months?
Yeah. Yes. As a consumer, I'll have to do that. It would be foolish for me not to, because ironically, this version of Game Pass seems tailor-made for Lohr, right?
Yeah.
Next year, we're going to have a new Gears of War game. I have that tattooed onto my body, right? Like, I love Gears of War.
Looking forward to E-Day.
Yep, as am I. I do play Fortnite regularly. I do use Game Pass regularly. In fact, last year I was championing Game Pass extensively. Not only is the best value in gaming, which I'd continue to do up until recently, but because I genuinely use it. I am a budget gamer. If we don't get a review code, I'm very price conscious, just because gaming is a hobby, not a need.
Yeah.
And I only have X amount of dollars for my hobby. And I think something my buddy Kev said to me just a few days ago when this all kind of broke, because he saw my reaction online. He's like, I think people are really mad at this like it's a 10 when they should be mad at like it's a 6, because it's really just X amount, small amount. And I said, he's absolutely correct. They have raised the price $10, right? But for me, my problem, this is a straw that has broken a camel's back in this case, because we have an additive failure consistently to respect the customers that have been currently engaged, and a withdrawal from trying to attract new customers. Now, part of that comes from the basic economics of removing themselves from a growth model. Respect, absolutely, yes. And now they are beginning to squeeze those who are still in that consumer base. But it feels as though, as a longtime supporter of Xbox, the consistent stepping on rakes, the consistent disrespect towards the current fan base is adding up, and it feels very corporate and Microsoft gaming. There was a time, mind you, these are all companies, but as a customer, I felt valued for a great deal of time. I go where my dollar is valued most. I was PlayStation 1, 2, and then at PS3, I was 360, and then I was early PS4, and then switched over during the Xbox One SX era, because I felt my dollar traveled further for what I wanted. Come November 2026, I'm going to have to ask that same question, because I do play Fortnite Crew. The Ubisoft Classic, likely not as valuable to me, because I've been in the Xbox ecosystem so long. Those games have been given to me via Games with Gold prior to the cancellation of that service. And they've been a part of Game Pass in so many different ways. So that's a bit different. But I do feel that I've said this before, I have a hard line in the sand at once a subscription reaches X amount, I just don't see it as a practicality, as a sustainable thing where I look at my budget at the end of every month and I say, yep, I can spend this much money for this thing. Again, this is tailor-made for me. I do use Fortnite Crew. I do use Fortnite Crew. I have been a supporter of Fortnite Crew for a very long time, since Green Arrow was included, because you know I'm a sucker for superheroes. But I think when I see Microsoft gaming take over what was once the feeling and vibe of Xbox, and I see the consistent devaluing of the entering into the ecosystem, I was ready to step back, and I am ready to step back. I just don't see it. I will cancel subscriptions when they hit a certain breaking point. And I hope any consumer is evaluating their finances. I saw we had some very poignant comments, emotional comments in our chat earlier from people saying, live within your means, do what you need to do. Like, maybe you just can't afford it. I heard people on social media saying, if $10 is too much, then maybe you got bigger problems. And to a point, I can understand that logic. However, it's not that $10 is too much. It's that $30 a month is too much. $30 a month that I'm not asking for this inclusion of certain services. Ubisoft Classic does nothing for me. EA Play has not been very valuable to me. Why can't I peel those out a la carte? Why can't you add World of Warcraft a la carte? There is a line and limit that we all have. So it's not that that $10 was too much. It's that 30 was too much. The amount of time, I believe Jam Pack Sam was in our chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he was saying much of this has to do with time. How much time do gamers have to use all of these things? Xbox is banking on the idea that people will not cancel because they have all this new value. Well, the churn rate will be very telling and interesting to watch. It's also telling what they don't say. And so that is fascinating to see. They did not include the PC news. Hey, Jampack Sam, it's good to see you. I know that people want to know, like, okay, well, what does this mean for the show? We'll address that part later, right? Like we like talking about video games. We'll continue to talk about video games. We'll talk about that later in the show.
I do not fully anticipate ever not being invested in Xbox in some fashion or another.
Agree.
With
I love
Xbox
Xbox games.
With like Fable, Gears of War, like there's Obsidian just makes games I love. There's always going to be something that I think I'll be invested in. I can't wait for Blade. Looking forward to that. I think the intent, there was I was having this conversation online because obviously everyone's having discourse and stuff. So jumping on Twitter and chatting with folks that I haven't chatted with in a while was really nice to kind of suss out, like, what is the thing that I'm recognizing here? And one of the things that I want to try and do better with, which I think is an issue that a lot of folks have trouble with when it comes to gaming, because as a consumer, I think I spend more than I should when it comes to stuff. And not that I'm paying more, but that I'm buying more frequently.
Of course.
And I think that is a testament to the passion that I have for the hobby that I have. Like I want to play these games, but I can't force myself to sit down and play all of them. I think the issue that I have is that I'm not buying with intent. And this is something that came across like a couple of days ago. And the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more I feel like I want to buy with intent. And I think one of the interesting things that it was actually Smoke came in chat and actually posted. Actually, Todd Oxter says making GPUs more expensive seems like a move to get more users to buy games, or GPU as like Game Pass Ultimate, just PC people. You don't get confused. A move to get more users to buy games and just get more money from the more enthusiastic users. And that goes exactly to my point, because Smoke came in and said, if you're gaming on a budget, how does going out buying games make sense? And I want to speak to this because I think that there's some great conversation happening in chat right now.
Agreed.
I think for me, what I like about buying games versus subscribing to Game Pass Ultimate is that I bought at a time where I shouldn't have, because I bought Star Wars Outlaws. Now, granted, I got a great deal on Star Wars Outlaws. It was steeply discounted, but I have not played that game. I bought it, but I didn't buy it with the intent of playing it soon. And the trouble is now I'm looking at the cost going down, and I'm thinking to myself, I should have waited. I should have waited to buy that because I know that the price was going to go down. I could have bought a used copy. Even if I have to install the game off of the server, it doesn't matter because the game is still active. It's still live. It's still available. I could have gotten it for cheaper, and I didn't, because I didn't buy with the intent to actually play it now. I bought it because I wanted to have it accessible to me at the time. So if you're on a budget, Game Pass Ultimate is a good deal if you buy it with intent to use it, to use as much of it as you possibly can, to get the benefit of Fortnite Crew out of it, to get the day one games and be able to play those on day one. Play through them, put the investment in there, try out games that you're not used to, try out with the indie games. I think that should be the core question that everyone is asking themselves. And I think a lot of the reason why people are looking at this $30 price tag a month and canceling is because they realize I am not getting the value out of this that I should have been. I have just been skating by because it was a good enough deal that it was an impulse purchase. I bought it every month knowing that I wasn't going to actually like mess with everything. But at this point, I recognize my gaming habits are not taking advantage of the value that is here. And I think that is where a lot of people are kind of recognizing, like, I got to stop. I have to be smarter about my money.
Exactly. You nailed it. You nailed it on the head there, because people need to, when purchasing with intent, it's much easier to justify spending the money because you intend to make use of it. And Game Pass was a service that, if you had the time, you could make use of so many things, experience so many games. I mean, I've played so many games, Logan, that I just would never have. I believe it was last summer that I was like Kunitsugami, Lords of the Fallen, Still Wakes the Deep, and I had like 3 more that I just back-to-back Game Pass day 1 launches. Let's go. I was enjoying them and having a blast with them. I was making use of it, but then as life gets busier, I don't get to make use of all the features. And come November, I'll save $2 a month thanks to Fortnite Crew. But how many Luke Lohrs are there out there? How many people are on Game Pass that are using Fortnite Crew? Or is this meant to soften the blow because C-suite says, hey, Fortnite popular, it's one of the 6 games that dominates, let's do this. Maybe not. I do not know. Go ahead.
Real quick, I did want to drop in that one of the interesting things about the Fortnite Crew being added to Game Pass Ultimate is because there are rumors coming out that they're going to be providing an ad-free version of Game Pass streaming.
I believe that's not a rumor any longer. I believe Tweaktown reported that, but let me look behind you while you're talking.
So the interesting thing about this is that Fortnite, a free-to-play game, has always been free to stream on Game Pass for quite a while. It's been, I believe, ever since it was pulled off of iOS and Android devices, Google Play and Apple iTunes or the Apple Store. Microsoft made that deal where Fortnite is available for people who want to play Fortnite for free on cloud streaming. It's interesting to me that established deal is probably part of the reason why they got the foot in the door to be able to have the conversation about how they could bring Fortnite Crew to Game Pass Ultimate.
I sent you a thing in chat, by the way. It was Xbox. It was pure Xbox reporting that I saw, but it was actually Tom Warren at The Verge who shared essentially that Microsoft does plan to have an ad-supported free tier where you watch a 2-minute ad, you get an hour of cloud gaming or something to the equivalent. And if I remember correctly from what I had watched on and heard and spoken to people behind the scenes, like they're going to cap it at a certain point. You might get 5 hours, 10 hours a month until you're in the paid tier. Great. Cool. I know a lot of students that will be checking it out because they love free access to anything, but they'll cap out pretty quickly, you know, and there are other free approaches, which is interesting. Smoke Cali Bud says, okay, guys, getting off my shoebox. I love what you're doing, and I'm subscribed. Family time. Enjoy yourself. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. And thank you for bringing up salient points and listening as well. We appreciate you.
One thing that I wanted to jump into as well, too, is Todd Oxtra in chat made a really good point that I actually saw kind of circulating around as well, too. And that was around annual discounts for subscribing for a year, something that PlayStation actually does with their PS Plus system, which I think there's 2 questions in my mind. One, why don't we have an annual option for Game Pass? Because I think a lot of us would be okay with this if we saved on money. Now, granted, a lot of us probably haven't paid full price for Game Pass in quite a while, because a lot of us do look for that 10% off or the Black Friday deals, and we try to get it at a discount.
Absolutely.
Now, even with the 100% increase in cost for Game Pass Ultimate, that $10 off is still going to bring us above a point where even a $5 bump to the service would still be out of reach of what we're going to have to pay. So the discount that we would be getting nowadays is not necessarily going to be as nice as it used to be when it was just $20 a month. But having an annual option should be present. We also should be getting options for family plans as well, too. Being able to tack on, like, if you really want to add value to Game Pass Ultimate, add a 5-person account limit. And I tell you, people would sign up the way they do for Nintendo Switch Online and expansion pack, because you can have that family plan. It's a lot less of a blow when you have multiple people on there, especially if you get all 5. Having options like that are ways to continue to present consumer friendly value while increasing the cost of the service.
There's a lot of things, but I don't think you're going to see that because they've switched out of growth model. Because
I
it does
agree.
feel like Microsoft Gaming versus Xbox, which stinks.
Yeah.
But the annual subscription with no way to do that, it does make it harder. You can go ahead and put that comment up. I like that comment from Godhammer. Saying he dropped from Game Pass Ultimate down to Premium.
Yeah.
That's a good possibility for me in the future. I don't know. Again, I did turn off auto renewal. I wanted that analytic to pop up because I do want to speak with my wallet. And next year, when we're looking at potential PlayStation 6s or PCs or PC boxes or TV, where do you go? I will go where I feel my dollar travels furthest and I get the games that I enjoy. Xbox themselves have made the games that I enjoy available in many more places. Doom, Gears, Halo, going other places. Cool. Rock on. I have no problem with that. I want to play Doom, Gears, Halo, and I want to play Helldivers, and I want to play Fortnite, and I'm loving Silent Hill F, and like maybe Steam is the right place for me, and that is okay. Like that is
of all people.
I will go where I get to play what I enjoy. Always. It stinks because for a long time, I loved Xbox. I love Xbox in what Xbox means to me and what it is and like the joy that I have taken from it. I've used my Series X almost every day since launch. I remember unboxing it and the joy that I had for it. I loved my Scorpio edition Xbox One X. I had an Xbox One S. I bought an Xbox VCR edition so I could play the Master Chief Collection. I had so many wonderful memories with my 360. Xbox means a great deal to me, but Microsoft Gaming's Xbox feels very different. It's one where, like I don't know what to do. And I will tell you actively, Logan, we lost subscribers on YouTube and Patreon when I came out as saying like, I'm done. I'm that's my cap. $20 was my limit. I'm done with this future element. And like, that's very silly. Like that's frustrating. Not that we lost subscribers, but it's frustrating to me that people will look at what I believe is a rational reaction of like, they have priced me out of something. Mm-hmm. I can't continue to support X or Y. I think that is fair. If anyone is taking a road and saying, well, you never loved this or that, or you're going after me like switch PlayStation's way better, and you're missing the discussion. You're missing the point. There's logic to a number of aspects of this discussion. It's not a matter of sides.
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to bring up is actually speaking to that in my mind is Wacko Games comes in and says Game Pass was always worth $30. Microsoft just took the hit and spoiled us. And I think that's 100% fair. Yeah. If you look at the cost of $30 a month, it's an Xbox 360's worth of value there. You got $360 a year. If you divide that by $70 a game, you're getting 5 games a year. If you don't spend, or if there aren't 5 $70 titles that you're buying a year, then you have to make up for that value somewhere else.
Sure.
And if you're not, either through indie games or smaller titles, $40 titles, then you have to spend, you have to check out 2 indie titles and play those. You have to start looking at where is the value made up, because it may be something that, yes, the value is definitely there. The list of games that they're offering is definitely present. Having day one access is no different than buying the game day one as well. I didn't get day one access for Ghost of Yote for my PlayStation Plus account. I went out and I bought it. How many games have I bought for PlayStation? That's 1.
Right.
I would have to buy 4 more for me to have to justify why I would jump from PlayStation Essential to PlayStation whatever the heck it is at the top one at
Plus
$30
gold premium.
Yeah.
Platinum.
So it's one of those things where, again, it has to go back to what is your intent? Are you intending to spend that much? If you've got 5 titles locked in for the year and you're knowing that you're going to get those in day one regardless, that's where you can find that value. If you're going to get 4 titles and decide that you're going to play a couple indies and use Game Pass or use a Fortnite Crew to get the 1,000 V coins for the rest of the year, that's your value. Find your value how you will. And the value is going to be up to everyone to determine like what they're going to invest in this. And there's no right or wrong answer for this because it's an individual basis. So this is one of those situations where I see a lot of people trying to argue that there's value to it or that there's not value to it or that it's too much or too little or that we're still getting a good deal. All of that is a very particular opinion. And it's no different than having an opinion on a game. It's no different on having an opinion on a controller or a layout. It's no different than an opinion on an ecosystem or the hardware features that are offered. It's what speaks to you and where are you willing to draw that line? And
very well articulated.
It's one of those things that I'm glad if people are finding value in this, because at least that will help support Game Pass. Because while I may not be supporting at the top tier, I will be supporting in some fashion. Hopefully, if nothing changes, I will probably be dropping my tier down because I would rather go and spend $70 on one or two titles a year. Because I know I'm gonna get E-Day. I'm probably gonna get Fable. And then I'm trying to think of like what else? Well, everything else is like a eh. And with going to premium, this is something that we didn't really talk about too much, but with premium, they did say that within a year, Call of Duty excluded, those games that are day one are going to make their way to Game Pass Premium.
Within a year.
Yes. Yep. Within a year of launch, not within a year of when they're doing this.
Right.
But within a year of launch, those games will come down to Premium, which will probably coincide with the launch on PlayStation 5, if I had to guess.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
So for me, if I know I can wait, like I have with other titles, then I will probably go to like PC Game Pass or Premium and see where I fall. I still get access to console. I still get access to PC. I still get access to cloud, regardless of the tier that I go with. But unless I'm a big Call of Duty fan, which at this point, I'm really just kind of invested in the campaign after looking at the beta. I didn't even jump into the beta because I was seeing reports of the sniper being too powerful. People are already working their way around the Treyarch Ricochet anti-cheat software. It looks like Call of Duty. So I'm going to be invested in the campaign for sure, but I'm still not a wave-based guy when it comes to zombies. I like the DMZ version better.
So did I. Yeah.
I liked it better. It was more casual for me. Then it's one of those things where it's like, I can step back and say like, okay, well, COD isn't like my go-to for this. So maybe I can benefit from just the premium and find value there for me, or PC Game Pass and find value there for me. But do I think that at the end of the day, the price hike was egregious? I do.
Same.
I think that's a very personal choice.
So you have articulated so well the idea that yes, it is a personal choice and everyone is entitled to that choice. And as a consumer, you absolutely should. You should take advantage of any bit of value you can get and make that choice according to your personal preferences, your personal buying. That's exactly what we want. That's exactly what you should do as a consumer because it will inform companies. I can't say enough how well articulated you said about what games you're getting for what you're paying. Are you getting the amount out of it? I know I'll play Fable, Forza, and Gears.
Oh yeah, Forza will be fun.
Like those are the three. Like yes, okay. So if you're talking $70 titles,
yeah,
okay, look at it's $280. Well, we're still not there. Am I going to make that up with Fortnite Crew and indies? Probably. Luke Lohr is, but I don't know that I still feel comfortable seeing that number, and that's where it's what's right. Do I have that money in that time period? The other element is that next to the removal of DLC discounts, which it's funny to me, the DLC discount one is amusing because it's what, 10%? You get 10% off DLCs, or
it's changing. Yeah.
So that to me is do you want to?
I just wanted to kind of specify because I was reading about that a little bit because I know a lot of people have been reporting that the discount is no longer available on add-ons. But one of these infographics was actually talking about how you're going to be getting points for it instead of just a straight cost discount. I'm going to try and find that, but go ahead and continue on the point that you're making as far as like them removing it.
Big shout out to Gentlestone who said Grounded 2 and Clockwork Revolution. Good point. Grounded 2, I'm absolutely loving. I love that
New
game.
Update.
Yep, new update, spooky update. Sort of. Clockwork Revolution looking good. Good point. Thank you for reminding me. But so that's 5. So you're probably at that value proposition. But what are we talking about? Like, is this a South of Midnight, or is it a Doom? Doom the Dark Ages in terms of like, what do I get out of it, right? And that's going to again be very personal. What is it that you want to play as a gamer? Xbox does a very good job, I think, of giving you a lot of choice in the types of games that they bring out. I loved Avowed. I really loved Avowed. It turned me on to Obsidian games, and that turned me into a fan of Grounded 2. So to me, like, okay, you're talking to Luke Lohr, feeling pretty good about what I would play. But I still look at that number and I'm just like, I don't know. It's going to be a judgment. I like Red Knight Live's comment saying it's going to be a balancing act between premium and ultimate. I think Xbox is still the very best deal in gaming. I no longer think it's the best deal in gaming, but I lack evidence to say, I think this is the best deal. That's going to come to, it's much more debatable now, whereas before it was a non-negotiable default argument. Yeah. It's now much more debatable. What do you enjoy? If Logan's getting more out of Ghost of Yotei and the back catalog of PlayStation titles that is available in PlayStation Plus, that's his best deal. Now, is Xbox Game Pass the best deal if you love Gears, Forza, Halo? We've got a better take on that one. I have 2 saved Clutch Kwando comments we need to make sure I don't forget, but also big shout out to Matt Valdez for coming in with 10 XEP memberships. Thank you, Matt Valdez. You are amazing. I appreciate you. That's a big W. We appreciate it. I am grateful. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. You had a revelatory moment that I stopped you from sharing.
So we were talking about the Game Pass still being the best deal in gaming, and I wanted to approach that because I do think that for a subscription, Game Pass is maybe still the best deal in gaming for Ultimate, like with the day one stuff. But we're now looking at like the cost between a Nintendo online subscription with the expansion pack and having almost the entire full catalog of first party games available for up to like getting close to the GameCube at this point on Nintendo Switch. On the flip side, I'm going to look at the fact that a lot of console gamers are going to be looking at that ROG Ally X and the Xbox ROG Ally as kind of their foray into PC gaming, whereas typically they would predominantly be a console gamer. But now with the handhelds bridging the gap between PC and console, they're going to have a wide access to Steam. Autumn sales going on right now. They got a summer sale, a winter sale, and a spring sale. I would argue that Steam, depending on the compatibility features that they have for a lot of the games that are available on their marketplace, tend to be at better discounts more frequently. And if you check Steam database, you can actually see like the history of the game on its discount and see where that goes. I tend to find more value in people spending more money over on Steam to buy games at a steeper discount than worrying about Game Pass. And I think now maybe we'll start to kind of see like, okay, well, are people going to go back to buying games on discount as opposed to just subscribing to Game Pass and getting access to that stuff? So it's very interesting to kind of see like how that's going to play out in the next year.
You make a very good point, and it's one of the like I definitively set my hard line as far as Game Pass Ultimate, beating that point to death at this point. But do I still get the next Xbox if it gives me offerings of my Steam library? Because then I can play Spider-Man and Halo on the same box. Suddenly that's more appealing, right? Yeah. And so there's just so many more factors to now consider with the rising cost of everything. And I enjoyed a chuckle here or there at a few people's expense when they were like, if $10 is too much, then you should just be done. It's like, bro, mortgages are going up. Food is 40% more than it was 6 years ago.
HOAs don't like giant skeletons in your yard.
And that's ridiculous, I might add. Goodness gracious. They should be there
3
all
little
year.
ghosts are okay. Giant skeleton, too much.
So there's an element to this that it's people don't necessarily always consider the bigger picture. Is $70 too much to play a game you love? That'll depend on your situation. But if you're having to dig into your savings to pay for food, then maybe, you know, the company's not going to get your dollar. And there's an element to it. Clutch Kwando appropriately says, "You're just broke" takes are so toxic. And that's truly what I'm getting at. It's like, that's not fair. That's not a fair statement in a world economy where people work very hard and struggle for basic necessities. And then to this bigger point of like, well, maybe they want to play 1 or 2 games, and they had Game Pass and it helped them. They don't have time to play all of this. They're going to have to drop down a tier. That's the churn rate that we're talking about, where Xbox loses the customer. And I'm very curious to see a month from now, what is the take? I'm also saddened, if I might add, I'm saddened at, in the last year, the reduction of Phil and Sarah FaceTime, the lack of Aaron Greenberg FaceTime, and the comments that come from former Xbox employees. It kind of sucks. This is just me being selfish and honest. Yeah. XEP loves interviewing people. I'm really excited for 2 interviews that I have scheduled right now. DBD is one of them, which I'm stoked for, because I just love DBD, and it's a great spooky time of year, and it's always a fun community. And then we have one more coming up. That's really cool. But it feels like with this, we'll never get to have Sarah on. We'll never get to talk to Phil in this case. And I hope that the lambasting and the frustration with the Microsoft gaming approach isn't a reason for that either. It stinks, because I feel like they're less accessible than they've ever been. And that was the great joy of social media at one point, and the great joy of gaming at one point. Yeah. I don't know. Does that sound dumb, or is that too close to home? I wanted people to hear that personal take of, when we started XEP, that was a goal.
Yeah.
In 2019, I really wanted to have them on.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think, it's one thing for us to want that, but I think that's because they've made themselves accessible to that. Whereas, if you look at PlayStation, like Joe and Kyle and Light, they're one of the best PlayStation podcasts out there.
Kyle and Light. Yep.
Okay. Kyle and Light. Yeah. Well, carrying the weight of the trophy room while Joe strokes his controllers while trying to cook food on Ghost of Yotai or Yote. But one of the things that I think is sad is that we have had very good people at the helm of Xbox for a long time. And to be perfectly frank, I put a lot of what's happened to Xbox on the shoulders of Satya Nadella. And I think this goes back to an article that came out at the beginning of the year, where Satya came out and said, like, yes, they are going to continue investing in the $80 billion up until June in AI. Mm-hmm. There's been a strong push in a lot of companies to start adopting Copilot as tools for productivity. AI is not going anywhere. It's going to take a lot of money to invest in it before it starts get to the point where it's going to be established. But I think it's going to turn into one of those things that it's another tool in the box that people use for stuff. Mm-hmm. And looking at the investments that Microsoft is making elsewhere, and them saying that they're going to have to adjust their infrastructure in some areas, mm-hmm. on top of the purchase of Activision, which was a very large indebting purchase, I think that it is clear that the homegrown nature of the Xbox One with Phil and Sarah taking over has been kind of pushed aside to the, okay, here comes the tab. Yeah. Now we need to start actually, like, you had a good run, you had some fun, we threw some money at you to get things going and see how they turned out. Right. It's been 5 years since the launch of this console. It's the best generation that Xbox has seen as far as, like, what I think is the perception of Xbox. They've come with games, they've come with good hardware, they're staying par to par as far as features or things like that, as far as like PlayStation goes. But the damage was done a long time ago, back when, TV. So the fun's over. the bills got to get paid. So now everything's going to start rising in costs. And there's plenty of other factors in this that are not just AI or Activision Blizzard or tariffs or whatever you want to call it. It is a culmination. And just like all of these things culminating to push Microsoft to demand more profit means that is going to fall on the consumers, and consumers are going to have to vote with their wallet. And I think that this is the first time that I've seen a lot of people look at Game Pass and think, now I have to vote with my wallet.
Right. Nailed it. I do want to give an amazing thank you to Broke Boy Lewis. Look at me, the Broke Boy. $5 super chat saying Logan was correct on the store rewards points instead of a discount. However, those points are capped 100,000 for ultimate, 50K for standard, 25K for core. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Thank you intensely. I see our boy Chris Jones from the Iron Lords coming in here, commenting that the executives are less available in every forum to include on-camera and written interviews as well. But Jason Ronald has been forthcoming for every article he's worked on, and that's just fantastic. I will say Jason Ronald, one of the most kind individuals that I've ever met in the gaming space, regardless of which side of the aisle of content creator to people making games. Gave him a shirt, an XEP shirt. Actually, I have one specially made for him, and I hope he enjoys it. Big shout out to Mav as well. I could see Mav. I haven't seen Mav in forever. I love Mav. I enjoy Mav a lot. I make sure I'm not missing anybody new. Okay. Yeah. Cool. What were you saying, bud?
I was wondering, there's another elephant in the room that we haven't even addressed, and I feel like we spent a lot of time on the elephant in the corner that's Microsoft and Game Pass, but there's a $55 billion deal for EA that I understand, but I don't know how to feel about it, man. To be perfectly honest, it feels kind of like I don't like this because I fear that it's going to go into Gearbox territory with Randy Pitchford. I feel like we're going to get this weird kind of like lack of hubris going into it. But dude, it's a weird one that I don't know. It's strange that this is what's coming on, but I'll pass the baton off to you.
Yeah. So this was a hard story for me to track based on my schedule, and so I relied on Alinea Analytics and in their kind of post that kind of sends out. I know Jason Schreier and several other of like Totillo's, like the high level journalists, did a very good job reporting on this also. But essentially, Electronic Arts, EA, you're talking like FIFA or now EAFC and Madden, et cetera, et cetera. There is a $55 billion leverage buyout that is backed by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Silver Lake, and affinity partners Jared Kushner, which is a big deal because that's, of course, Trump's son-in-law. There's a lot to this as I read through the different groups, and Alinea broke down as like a good, bad, ugly element for it. It's good for investors in the short term. Long term is less certain. Is it good for employees? In some ways, yes. However, the ugly is that cuts are indefinitely on their way. Major cuts are indefinitely on their way. You can expect layoffs, departures, deep cuts coming through, and anything that is non-service or a slow build service is likely going to be on the chopping block first. Likely you can expect and anticipate the chopping up and selling of different IP within the EA brand. You can think that BioWare is probably among these, which is a big deal. Sims as well. I'm very cautious to watch how a Saudi Arabia-backed fund, as well as a conservatively backed fund, handles different, how do I put this, human rights issues and studios that are perhaps more LGBTQ plus friendly, given the amount of human rights issues that stem from kind of Saudi Arabian money and alleged human rights violations that are within that, as well as of deeply conservative backers, if you're mentioning Jared Kushner's, because there are a number of LGBTQ plus friendly studios within that company, within that pantheon. And I can only hope that they survive unscathed or are able to get out to greener pastures. There's a lot to break down when it comes to this type of a deal. And it's funny because in our community, we're very focused on this Game Pass Xbox news, understandably so, mind you. but I do have a lot of red flags jumping up, and I can only hope that anybody that's a game developer or working at these studios is able to land on their feet comfortably if those cuts do come. And I don't know what's going to happen, because the gaming industry has made a severe AI push. It's also reduced the amount of competition as companies are buying and gobbling each other up. I know Lena Khan was on socials. You do, and I talked about this, saying, I warned you about this. It's like, all right, maybe I don't think you were thinking this in any way, shape, or form. You tried to make your career on something, but will be very interesting to watch how this goes. Yeah, it'll be, there's just a lot of ways to chop this one up. All I know is that I don't feel like it's good for gaming based on the reactions of much smarter, more invested people that I'm seeing.
This is coming at some point where I always worry when non-game industry companies come to start scooping up game companies, because they're looking at a dollar and a price point. Like FIFA and Madden are two of the biggest selling games that you know are in the industry. Like them plus like Fortnite and Call of Duty are just titans that are picked up by casuals, and they enjoy and invest their money in those ecosystems on a regular basis, on an annual basis. Mm-hmm. When you start pulling out, like NetEase purchasing a lot of parts of other companies is concerning, due to, you know, like the influence that might come from that based on their origin. But it's one of those things where I'm looking at them buying this and I'm like, I don't see them looking at this as a way for them to embrace the creative culture of what gaming is. I look at them doing this as a way to earn value and money from a privately owned aspect that then generates income for them. Mm-hmm. And that is not, I mean, that's great for a company. If you got a company that needs someone to come in and help figure out how to be profitable, but I don't know. It's a weird take for EA
investors of the company, not necessarily the company.
No, not is the people who own it. Mm-hmm. I don't know that this is going to benefit the studios in any way. Mm-hmm. It might alleviate some of the stress that comes in when shareholders have to earn, get their earnings. They have to see positive growth in the value of the company. There's always got to be, a growth factor to their income. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I think one of the things that really kind of worries us is this now shakes up what's going to happen with BioWare and Mass Effect. And a lot of people really, really have, storied investments in those characters and those franchises. We're also very curious what's going to happen with a lot of the indie projects that get published through EA, like Prince of Persia, stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. Acquisitions like this are always kind of concerning. I think for me, the fact that it was EA is more surprising than if it were Ubisoft, because I think everyone's still kind of surprised that Ubisoft hasn't been bought up by someone yet. Mm-hmm. And same thing with like Warner Brothers Studios. Like they're still, Warner Brothers still holding on tight to Arcane and NetherRealm. And it's interesting, of all things to happen. Like EA gets scooped up and it's not the biggest news. But yeah. I don't know what happens to BioWare, but I guarantee you that I can't remember what the number is, but there's an accrued debt that is associated with this that's going to have to get paid in some way. And that usually comes in the form of layoffs and closures. And I'm already anticipating by next year, we will hear of layoffs from EA as a result of this purchase.
Yep. I know a lot of people worry about Mass Effect. I'm worried about Iron Man, just because the flying that was in Anthem and Iron Man. I'm talking about on the game front, not the human rights front, like just the game front, just to be very clear. Like, I'm worried about Iron Man because I loved the flying that came from Anthem. I love the combat that was in Anthem, and that's likely going to be making its way because it's EA Motive, and it's just like, oh, I don't know, man. There's just so much to break down in that, and I'm at a loss. So it sucks. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Before we exit, I just want to talk about 2 games I've been playing, but I want to make sure we finish up the topic.
No, as far as EA goes, I'm good. Were there any questions that we needed to jump into?
I know that we handled Kevin Ainsworth dropped us a wonderful question that I feel that we addressed when we talked about Xbox, as we did with Nicholas Johnson.
Okay.
Because he was asking essentially about like the site crashing when people were canceling their subscriptions. Do we think the metrics of success have changed? I think we did kind of cover that, as it were. I know that website did crash, but I also don't know what that really means. You know, like when Silksong and every storefront was down, that was definitive. We don't know what type of server allocations the cancel subscription was getting. But I hope that the churn rate of this has sent a message. A very casual friend of mine in gaming came up to me and was like, "Hey, you see what happened with Game Pass?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "What's going on with Xbox, man? They're pulling a Disney." And I was like, "What?" And he was talking about Jimmy Kimmel and the kerfuffle that came from that, but essentially how much money they lost for not standing their ground, you know, and how that will never be recouped. And I wonder, if the churn rate is real bad and Xbox walks this back, how much was lost? Will they ever get it back? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now that the folks that are hoping that Microsoft is going to change their mind about this based on the number of cancellations that they've seen, that is not going to happen. Just last night, I booted up my Xbox to watch some TV, which RIP Movies and TV app. Still bummed about that. But looking at the Xbox, not only were they doing like full price or full screen advertisements for Game Pass, but every single little ad bar that they have on like the home screen was like, upgrade your service. Did you know Hogwarts Legacy is now on Game Pass Ultimate? You could save some extra money if you do that. You know, like every single one was Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. And it's one of those things, like I've already been seeing Game Pass ads on YouTube. I've already been seeing them invest heavily in the marketing and messaging of this. So you don't make marketing and messaging and videos that are pushed out to social media if you think this is like a, we'll see how the community feels about this. This is very much a, yeah, we're doing this. It's going to sting. We're going to see a hit to subscriptions. We're going to see a hit to the number of subscribers, but it is a necessary thing that they feel they need to do. And they feel like they've worked out the balance of whatever that value is. And that value is going to be one of those things that I think people are going to have to make that choice for themselves.
Yep.
I am probably going to go back to buying movies. I am probably going to go back to buying games and spending less on services, because the cost of those is going up to the point where I'm not getting as much value.
Yep. Nailed it. Oh, man. Well, I will tell you that I've been enjoying 2 games of late that I've been playing.
Yeah.
I've had less time to play new games because, like, if I listen to a chapter when I'm studying or something, like if I'm listening to like a lecture or whatever, I only play something where I can brain dead it, like Fortnite or Helldivers or something that I've repetitiously played.
Yeah.
But I did. We received a review code, or coverage code rather, I should say, for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds.
Oh, nice.
Playing that.
I didn't know about that.
It just recently happened.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So good.
It looks good. It looks so legitimately fun.
It's an absolute blast. I have not played Mario Kart, whatever number they're on.
World. It's World. Oh my God. It's just called World.
Well,
killing me.
Every bit of coverage I see on that looks boring as can be compared to the incredible Mario Kart 8, which was just incredible.
It was just Mario
Kart 8 was incredible.
If it was worth it, then they should have bought a Wii U, is what people would say online. No, I know.
I have a Wii U.
Oh, fine.
And I have Mario Kart 8, and I loved it. And I had
took out Link. I'm still bitter. That all it is. I'm just bitter because they took out the Legend of Zelda stuff. That's why
that was my favorite. That bike and Link were they were my skins. They were my
They were great. Yep. They're fantastic. They didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do it, Nintendo.
It should have been Smash Kart. Anywho, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Truly loving this game. Only just now getting to dive into like the depth, like the extra layers. Like, you can play those games very casually and just have a blast.
Yeah.
Or you can like get into the drifting and like this and like get
They
real
got the
competitive.
items and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Items,
Okay.
drifting, multiple worlds to play through, multiple IP that are showing up via its content pass. And I'm bummed because the Ninja Turtles are a year away, Logan. A year
That's
away.
okay.
I'm very sad. But I'm
You act as though it's like turtles haven't been relevant in a while or something. Like, bro, you got so many other turtle stuff.
I have them in Fortnite. I have them in COD. I got
send
to
you-
play Splintered Fate. So good.
I send you turtle shit all the time. Oh, sorry, turtle all the time.
Thank you. Yep. I do love Ninja Turtles, man. So I just wanted to shout that game out. And I'm also playing through Silent Hill F. And this one I purchased. This was the game that I bought. This is my one game that I bought for a while because tuition's so expensive. But I'm very happy with this purchase because and it was Helldivers and Silent Hill were the two games I bought for this fall. And I am loving Silent Hill F. It's much slower than I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be faster and a little bit more combat, a little more Resident Evil. But I'm adapting to that and I'm enjoying it. But so great question. I didn't really get into Silent Hill when I was younger.
Yeah.
I just didn't. And I
mean,
really
neither have I, but I still know that there's a fundamental difference in how those games.
Third person over the shoulder horror was how I was thinking of it. You know what I mean? And I didn't get into Resident Evil till RE4. And then I went down my rabbit hole. So anywho, I'm really enjoying it. And I'm absolutely having a blast with it, but it's slower than I anticipated. I did drop it down to story mode. I was in hard mode. I dropped it into story mode. Still having a hard time with that combat. But I really like it. And I sincerely hope that Silent Hill 2 it comes to Xbox when that deal is up soon. Because who knows what's happening in a year for me. But I'm hoping that it does come because I'm excited for more Silent Hill somewhere, and I might snag it on Steam or something.
I was gonna say, like, just wait for a Steam sale.
I might, but the Steam Deck is getting aged, and my PC I pretty much use for content in school, so I don't know that because I can remember this
coming out with a new Steam Deck, man. What the hell?
At some point, it is a thing. It is a thing. That's all I'm saying.
You got one sent to you. You don't have any inside information. Come on.
I'm telling you, they're working on it. That's your inside information. There you go.
That is not inside at all. That is so outside that they're tripping over the fence and falling into the gutter in the street.
Look, man, they're only going to make 2 because Valve doesn't do 3s. Joking aside,
how dare you?
If the ROG Ally X wasn't $1,000, that'd be a great place to enjoy it because it's got multiple storefronts, right? Like that would be a great choice, but that's $1,000. And I don't care what economic conditions exist. $1,000 doesn't, that's a lot of money, for me anyway.
Yeah. You would probably need to sell something. I don't know. Blood, kidney.
I did plasma to get my 360. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back.
That's the market Luke Lohr's in now.
I mean, kind of.
We're looking at that. There's a game. Oh God, there's a game on Steam that I found out about. That's $15 on sale right now. That I'm very tempted to jump into because it fascinates the hell out of me. And it's called Mortuary Assistant. And you basically work on cadavers, getting them prepped for burial as an assistant in a mortuary that is haunted.
Well, that's messed up. Are you playing that?
Maybe. I don't know. I kind of want to download the demo and give that a try and just see what it is. But $15, dude. That seems like an easy buy-in.
Maybe. I don't know. I did get the Pumpkin Jack Cow the Kangaroo Steam bundle because I love Pumpkin Jack. Yeah. Because they were like $8 and you get the spooky stuff in the Cow the Kangaroo. And I was like, all right, I like that. Pumpkin Jack's a goated spooky game.
You're so funny. Oh my god,
so much fun.
But yeah, with Silent Hill F, I know a lot of folks have been enjoying that, and it's been
Clutch Quando finished. He said it was great. I love
doing
it.
really well.
Yeah,
So that's awesome.
It. Yeah, it's really good. Well, look, man, I think that's about it for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else news-wise that we can really talk about.
We had 45 people at max in our chat today, and that is a pure pleasure and an honor.
Can't imagine.
You guys. If you guys are willing to hit that like button and share, we'd really appreciate it. But sincerely, thank you. And shout out to Broke Boy for the super chat and to Mac Valdez for the gifted subs. You guys really helped us out. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Gentle Stone is called the mortuary assistant. I apologize if I'm fumbling over the word because it is a hard one for me. The one thing, yes. Before we do, because I think we could end on reading that out. Doug Bowser retiring from Nintendo of America cracks me up because more people probably forget that he was the president of Nintendo of America, and the only people that probably remember is because his last name is actually Bowser.
Yep, true.
So. But that was all I had. But yeah, we should definitely thank the patrons because they are 100% supporting the content that we do. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for them heading over to patreon.com/Xbox expansion pass and showing their support and love, half the time we wouldn't be able to take care of the bills here.
You're right. It's your turn to read this week, if you don't mind.
Yeah. And also shout out to the YouTube subscribers and the patrons through YouTube as well too. You guys are fantastic. It's so generous of you to support this content. So I hope that we're doing a good enough job for you. I hope that we're providing that value for you and that you continue to find value in subscribing to this content. But as always, we like to shout out to tier 2 and tier 3 patrons on the show just to let them know that we appreciate them by name. And by doing so, they hopefully know that they're included in the little family that we have over at Xbox Expansion Pass. You also get access to the Discord, which is a fantastic place if you want to have these conversations, because that was blowing up when the news broke. So shout out to Matto1606, Matt Valdez, Clutch Quando, Omen, Jesse Perez, Fado, Aaron G, Nick Bentley, The Scarecrow, Ken Rosling, Fabian Winkler, Regis Stella, the Brony Pirate, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Nicholas Johnson, Randall Thor 19, African, Game Positive, Jam Pack Sam, Red Beast, Dano 12, DJ Hero, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, and Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler. Thank you guys so much for your support. It really has been great. Love the super chats and the memberships gifted out today. It was great. If you guys enjoy this content, definitely be sure to like and subscribe as always, because it does help with the algorithm, especially because YouTube made that weird thing about the whole like ad blockers and stuff. So it's harder for folks to find content as things secretly get restricted.
Big time. Alrighty, guys, that's going to be it for us. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.